Hey guys, we're going to review for our test over substitution and graphing. Alright, so the first 4 problems are all about graphing. Alright, so first off, let me just tell you quite honestly here. I suggest getting really good at using the calculator here. Okay? I would love for you guys to be able to graph lines. But we're preparing for a test. When you guys are preparing for a test, it's all about getting the answer right. Okay, that's just the honest truth. Okay? So, number 1 says y equals negative 3x plus 4, y equals 3x minus 2. I could show you how to graph, but I really want you to realize that the calculator will do all the hard thinking for you if you can do the hard thinking of getting it into y equals. Okay? Now, these two are already in y equals, so this one, there's no hard thinking for you. You go to the calculator, you turn it on, you type in each one individually into the calculator, I gotta click clear. Negative 3x plus 4, and then 3x minus 2. Then, you can go to the table, second graph, and just look for the y's match up. Bam, the y's match up right here, so it is the point 1, 1. That's where they intersect. They intersect at the point 1, 1. That's our answer. That's all I'm looking for. Okay? On the test tomorrow, that's all I'm going to be looking for is where they match up. Alright, now number 2 is a little bit trickier. This second equation does not have a y equals. Alright, so you see what really is happening here is you're getting a straight up and down line, pretend this is straight, at x equals negative 3. Again, you don't actually have to graph it. You cannot graph that in a calculator. However, you can be aware that we know the x value is negative 3. So then I can go type in the other one's y value, y equals x plus 2. Hit graph. And then I can just go to the table and look for where x is negative 3. When x is negative 3, what is y? Negative 1. Bam, that's where they meet. They meet at negative 3, negative 1. Alright, let's go on. Let's try number 3 here. Now, number 3, you do have to do the hard thing of getting the y's by themselves. Okay? So to get y by itself over here, you need to subtract x over. So then you get negative y is equal to 3 minus x. Now, in order to get y by itself, you want to divide everything through by a negative 1. So that gives you y is equal to negative 3 plus x. Now you're ready to type that one in. Alright, we have to do the same thing over here. We've got to move the second and the next over by subtraction. So we get negative y is equal to negative 3 minus 7x. Then we divide everything by negative 1 and we get y is equal to 3 plus 7x. Now we're ready to type each one of these into the calculator. So we go to our calculator, we turn it on, and we say negative 3 plus x. And then we say 3 plus 7x. We hit graph. Alright, now we can't see where it's intersecting. That's okay. We can still go to our table and look to find out where it's intersecting. Not seeing anything so far. Let's try going. Maybe it's not somewhere on the more positive side. That is right. Subtracted that. That became positive. Subtracted that. That one became negative. That one, did I type it in right? Negative 3 plus x, 3 plus 7x. Alright, what does it look like? It looks like they're meeting somewhere right around here, like right around negative 1. Did I not look at it right? Oh, I didn't look at it right. Negative 1, negative 4. Can you see how both y's are negative 4? So that's where they meet. They meet at negative 1, negative 4. Okay? What about number 4? Alright, we got to solve for y on both. So on the first one, all we got to do is subtract 4x over. So we get y is equal to 2 minus 4x. Or negative 4x plus 2 is fine too. Alright, now on this one, we got to subtract x over. We get negative y is equal to 3 minus x. Now I got to divide everything by negative 1. So we get y is equal to negative 3 plus x. Now we're ready to type that into the calculator. So we go to y equals, we type in the first one, which is 2 minus 4x. Alright, then we go to the next one, we type in negative 3 plus x. We hit graph. So it looks like they're crossing somewhere between 1 and 2, or right around 2, maybe right around 1, so let's go look. 1, negative 2, negative 2. So when x is 1, both y's were negative 2, so that's where they're crossing. They're crossing at the point 1, negative 2. Bam, that's my answer. Alright, let's move on to the next set, which the next set, 5 through 14, is all about substitution. Okay, that's what they want you to do on each one of these. So, to solve by substitution, what you need to do first is get a variable equals something, and then take what it equals and plug into the other equation. Alright? So number 5 is actually set up pretty nicely for you already for substitution, because it tells you that y equals 4x minus 9. So you can take this 4x minus 9, and you can plug in for y right there. So you can say 4x minus 9 equals x minus 3. Now you just have to get all the x's on one side, all the numbers on the other. Boom. Okay? So minus x, maybe add 9. So then that gives you 3x is equal to 6. Divide both sides by 3 to finish getting x by itself. You get x equals 2. Now, to solve for y, you take that 2, you plug it back in for x in either one. I'm going to plug in the second one. So I'm going to say 2 minus 3. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So that gives me the point 2 comma negative 1. Bam! There's number 5 solved. Okay, let's try to solve number 6. Okay, number 6 is not set up quite as nicely. So what you first have to do is pick either equation and solve for either variable. Here's the thing. You get to choose here, okay? Do you want to solve for x? Do you want to solve for y? It's totally up to you, okay? Do you want to solve for x from the first equation or from the second equation? Do you want to solve from y for the first equation, second equation? It's up to you. But I'm going to choose to solve for x in the second equation because to me that just looks really easy. I just move the negative y over and make it positive, and I get x equals y plus 13. If you chose a different route, that's okay as long as you get the same final answer. Okay? So I take this y plus 13, and I plug in for x right there. So I get 4 times y plus 13 plus 2y is equal to 10. So I distribute the 4 out, so that gives me 4y plus 52 plus 2y is equal to 10. So 4y plus 2y is 6y, so I get 6y plus 52 is equal to 10. Subtract 52 from both sides, and that's going to give you a negative 42, because 10 minus 52 is negative 42. Divide both sides by 6. Negative 42 divided by 6 is negative 7. So y equals negative 7. And then we already have x solved for up here, so I can say x is equal to negative 7 plus 13. Well, negative 7 plus 13, that's just 6. So x equals 6. So then I get the point 6 comma negative 7. Bam, done. All right, number 7 is also really easy because they already tell you that y equals negative 5, so you can just take that negative 5 and plug it in for y right there. So you can say 5x plus 4 times negative 5 is equal to negative 20. Well, that gives you 5x minus 20 is equal to negative 20. So then you have to add 20 to both sides. When you add 20 to this negative 20 over here, it gives you 0. So 5x equals 0, and divide both sides by 5, you get x equals 0, because 0 divided by 5 is still 0. So you get the point 0 comma negative 5. Alright, going on to problem number 8. Same idea, you got to solve for a variable first. So I'm going to solve for x on this first one because it just looks like I have to move 7y over. So I can say x is equal to negative 7y. So then I can take this negative 7y and I can plug it in for x right there. So I can say 2 times negative 7y minus 8y is equal to 22. That gives me negative 14y minus 8y is equal to 22. Well, negative 14 minus 8 is negative 22. So negative 22y is equal to 22. Divide both sides by that negative 22 to get y by itself. And you get y equals negative 1. Now you just got to solve for x. Well, to solve for x, I already know that x equals negative 7 times y. I know that y is negative 1. So I can say x is equal to negative 7 times negative 1. Well, negative 7 times negative 1 is just 7. So I get the point 7 comma negative 1. Boom! Alright, let's move on. Let's try problem number 9. Problem number 9, once again, starts giving us the y. It says y is negative 5, so I can just plug that right in. So I can say 6x plus 8 times negative 5 is equal to negative 22. So then I can say 6x minus 40 is equal to negative 22. To solve for x, I add 40 to both sides. Well, when you add 40, negative 22 plus 40 is 18. So 6x is equal to 18. Divide both sides by 6, and you get x equals 3. And they started off this problem telling you what y was. They told you that y was negative 5. So you get the point 3 comma negative 5. Bam! All right, let's go to number 10. Number 10 is not quite as easy. You do have to pick a variable to solve for. So I'm going to start with the second equation. And I'm going to solve for x. So it means I just subtract 6y over. So I get 6x is equal to negative 6y. Divide both sides by 6, and I get x equals negative y. Well, the fact that I know x equals negative y, I can take this negative y, and I can plug it in for x right here. So I can say negative 7 times negative y plus 2y is equal to 18. Well, negative 7 times negative y is 7y plus 2y is equal to 18. Well, 7y plus 2y, that's 9y, still equal to 18. So if 9y equals 18, divide both sides by 9, you get y equals 2. Well, if you know y equals 2, and you know x is equal to a negative y, then you can say x is equal to a negative 2, because y is 2. So you get the point, negative 2, comma 2. Alright, let's try problem number 11. Problem number 11, a lot of people choose weird things to solve for here. Let me give you a piece of advice. Take a moment and think. If you solve for x from this first equation, that means you're going to have to divide by 7. Can you divide 19 by 7 and get a whole number? No. So why would you want to do that? So what if you said, okay, I'll solve for y? Well, you're going to divide negative 19 by 2. Does that give you a whole number? No. So don't do that. Go down to the second equation. If you were to solve for y here, you'd have to divide 21 by 2. Again, not a nice number. So solve for x. So you subtract the 2y over, so you say negative x is equal to 21 minus 2y. Then you divide everything through by a negative 1 so that you make that negative x become a positive x. And so that gives you x is equal to negative 21 plus 2y. So then you take that negative 21 plus 2y, sorry, my y looks so bad there, and you plug it in for x over here. So you say 7 times negative 21 plus 2y is equal to negative 19. Multiply the 7 in, so that gives you negative 147 plus 2y, I'm sorry, minus, that's going to be something different, because I have to distribute the 7 to it. 7 times 14y, 7 times 2y is going to be a positive 14y is equal to negative 19. Alright, I need to add the 147 over, so I get 14y is equal to 147 plus negative 19, which is 128. Divide both sides by 14, and you get that y equals 8. Okay, so now you have to take that 8, plug it in for y over here to finish solving for x. So you can say x is equal to negative 21 plus 2 times 8. Well, 2 times 8 is 16. Negative 21 plus 16 would be a negative 5. So we get the final answer for number 11 as being negative 5, comma 8. Okay. Number 12. Guys, if you have not paused the video yet and tried one on your own, try it on number 12. So hopefully you just now unpausing the video and you're like, Mr. Netherland, that was a breeze. Alright, because you know that y equals negative 7. So you can just plug in a negative 7 for y. So you say 3x plus 35 is equal to 17. You subtract 35 from both sides, and you get that 3x is equal to negative 18, because 17 minus 35 is negative 18. You divide both sides by 3, you get x equals negative 6. And they already told you that y was equal to negative 7, so you know the answer is negative 6, comma negative 7. Alright. Try to pause the video again and try number 14. Again, I really hope that you're unpausing the video right now and that you started off solving for either x or y from the second equation. My suggestion is I'm going to solve for x because I should add the 4y over so that gets rid of any negatives. So I add the 4y over so I get 4x is equal to 4y. Divide both sides by 4 and I get x equals y. Well, now that I know that x equals y, I can just plug in for that y and I can just plug y into x right here. So I can say negative 7y plus 4y is equal to 24. That's going to give me a negative 3y is equal to 24. Divide both sides by negative 3, and you get that y is equal to negative 8. So then, you know that x equals y. So if x equals y, then, and y is negative 8, then you know it's the point negative 8, negative 8. Last but not least, 14. Try 14 on your own if you haven't yet. Okay. On 14, I personally would solve, I don't know, either one looks fine. I'm going to do the first one. So I'm going to subtract 4x over, so that gives me negative y is equal to 20 minus 4x. Then I divide everything through by negative 1 to make this negative y become a positive y. So I get negative 20 plus 4x. Now I have to take this negative 20 plus 4x and plug it in for this other y right here. So I say negative 2x minus 2 times negative 20 plus 4x is equal to 10. So I distribute the negative 2. So I get negative 2x plus 40 plus 4x is equal to 10. Okay, so I'm going to put like terms together. Negative 2x plus 4x, that's 2x. And I'm going to subtract 40 at the same time. 10 minus 40 is negative 30. Divide both sides by 2, and you get x equals negative 15. Well, if x equals negative 15 and y is equal to negative 20 plus 4x, then y is equal to negative 20 plus 4 times negative 15. Alright, and 4 times negative 15 is negative 60, so y equals negative 80. Now, something about my answer here is giving me pause, so I do want to double check it. Just something about it is just bothering me. So I do want to verify my answer is correct. So what I'm going to do is, if I plug in this x and y in for either one, it should make a true equation. So what I mean by that is that if I go and turn on my calculator, and I type in 4, so that's the first equation, times negative 15 minus negative 80, according to this thing, I should get positive 20. Okay, and I did. All right, now let's check for the other one, because you got to check for both. Negative 2 times what I got for x, which was negative 15, minus 2 times what I got for y, which was a negative 80, should be 10. Okay, so I did make a mistake somewhere. And I thought I had. Something just wasn't clicking. So let's back up. Let's go back to the very first one I first solved for. So I subtracted 4x over, divided everything through by a negative 1. Okay, so that's definitely fine. I'm just kind of making sure I can see everything clearly. Divide everything through by negative 1. Okay, so then I took this and I plug in for x right here. So I got me, oh, no, I plug in for y. So I got negative 2x, negative 2 times negative 20 right here. Negative 2 times 4x isn't 4x. Negative 2 times 4x is negative 8x. So then, I still be negative 30 here, but negative 2x minus 8x is negative 10x. So I divide both sides by negative 10 and I get that x equals 3. So that's not true. And then if x equals 3, I go back to my y equation and I get 20, negative 20, plus 4 times 3. And that is going to be a negative 8. And that answer makes more sense. So 3 comma negative 8. Alright guys, sorry about that last hiccup. I know this video ran long. I just kind of wanted to go into depth for everything. I hope it made sense. If you're stuck anywhere, if you're lost, send me an email, send me a remind. Please study hard. Remember, greatness is not an achievement. It is a habit. Have a great evening.